Hello, good evening, and a very warm welcome to Work on Workplace Relations with Aastha. It's Sunday evening, 7:30 p.m. Indian Standard Time, and waiting for all of you to join in quickly. We are live on Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube, all the three platforms. So, so just waiting. And meanwhile, for those of you who do not know me, who would be watching me for the first time, let me quickly introduce myself. I am Aastha Tatia, and I am your happiness coach. And as a happiness coach, what do? I help corporate leaders build deep connections and meaningful relationships in their organizations. And I'm also an author, published my book very recently. It's also the Amazon #1 bestseller. It's called Survive or Thrive. And in the Survive or Thrive series, we are taking up these different topics. So while we talk about workplace relationships, like I always say, like this book also talks about, the relationships boil down to the quality of your relationship with yourself. And therefore, every topic that I pick up for these live sessions is an attempt to pick up some aspect of your relationship with yourself. So even today, when we are going to talk, what do you do when your boss says something that you do not approve of or you don't like? What do you do? So I don't want to really give you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 points that go and do this, but I want to pick up a different perspective today. What really happens? Why do you feel the way you feel? What is the impact? And then what can you do about it, right? So I'm going to pick up one of the chapters from the book itself, the chapter number 6. For those of you who've already bought the book, you've read, you may be able to relate with what I'm saying here. Yes. Welcome. I see some of you here. So my request would be, please drop in a hi and let me know your name also, because I can't see who's live here with me and I really want to say a hi to you. Number 2, please share your perspectives, your thoughts, anything that comes to your mind, your experiences while we are talking. Put them in the comment box. Make sure you are sharing. Okay, let it be a dialogue. Okay, great. So we'll have more people joining in. Once again, a very warm welcome. We are live on Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube, all the three platforms. Do let me know who's live. Let me know your name and the place that you are coming from, so that I can welcome you. Great. So let's get started. So starting on, when your boss says something that you do not approve of, okay, this is a perspective that I want to share here. And you don't like to be treated in that particular manner, but you don't say anything. Okay, he's treating you in a certain manner, he's talking to you in a certain manner, he's saying something which you don't like, you don't approve of, right? Or you don't like being treated the way he's treating you, but you keep quiet. You don't say anything. Or you don't say anything and you beat yourself and doubt your capabilities. Or the other extreme, you give it back by using some harsh, loud words. Yeah, you need to figure out which of these categories you belong to. If you have a boss and this is a scenario that you've experienced, or you've seen somebody around you who has gone through it. So I have gone through both of these, where I have kept quiet, and then a day came where I just blasted him right in the middle of everybody. So both the scenarios can be there. You need to see. Now, you know what you want and really need. By the way, this scenario that I just spoke about happens in so many other areas. When your wife or your husband is unhappy and they keep blaming you for things that are not working, you say to yourself, I'm not a good husband or wife. Or the other extreme, you attack your spouse and abuse him or her. When your team member doesn't perform or misses a deadline, you blast him. Right? Now, these are just some of the instances which I've quoted here. You can pick many, many more from your lives. Okay? So you know what you really need, but you ignore it or you push it aside. You start doubting yourself. You start questioning yourself. Okay, now here I want to ask you some questions. How often do you beat yourself for not being up to the mark or not living up to your own expectations of who and how you should be? We all have expectations, and when we're not living up to that, how often do you beat yourself up? Second, how often do you doubt yourself, your worth, your capabilities? I'm not good enough. I'm not up to the mark. How often do you dump yourself saying, I cannot, I just cannot do this? How often do you give up on yourself? Like, मेरे बस की नहीं है, मुझसे नहीं होगा. I don't think I'm up for it, or I don't think I'm capable enough. You just give up on yourself. How often do you keep running because that's what you are supposed to do? I cannot stop. There's no way I can pause. I just have to keep going. That's what I am supposed to do. If you could relate to the instances, please type in a yes. Let me know if you could. If you could relate to the instances that I mentioned above, and your answer to one or more of these questions is quite often. I dump myself quite often. I doubt myself quite often. I beat myself quite often. If the answer is quite often, then what is missing? What is missing is self-love. Don't raise your eyebrows. I'm sure you've all heard about self-love so often, but right now in this context, when let's say your boss says something that you don't approve of, and you either stay quiet or you give it back to him. You use language that you may regret later, but you do that. So either ways, what is missing is self-love. Now, you may be wondering why and how to love me. There are others to love you, and you will shower your love on others. Isn't that the idea of love? Isn't that what we've been brought up with? We've been conditioned with. Shower your family and friends and those around you with love. Be there for them. Empathize, give, and care. Then where does self-love come from? What's the whole idea, big deal about self-love? And that's where we think, I need to love others, I need to shower, pour for others, and others are going to give it back to me. And when you set that expectation in different proportions and different levels, you expect others to give it to you. And when that doesn't happen, you are in for a shocker, you're in for stress, anxiety. I'm not loved by anybody, nobody loves me. And that's what you're thinking all the time, right? Now, when we are busy trying to fulfill the expectations of others, okay, when we are busy trying to fulfill the expectations of others and ourselves, our own expectations with ourselves, we end up taking a toll on ourselves. Now, hear this out very, very carefully. I want you to close your eyes, okay, literally if you're there, whoever is listening to me, or even if you watch this video later, please close your eyes and visualize for 2 minutes. Maybe, you could just take a little time and literally see for yourself how you feel each time you are in a situation like I mentioned above, and you are beating yourself, you are doubting yourself, you are questioning yourself, and doing what you're supposed to do and not what you want to do. So every time you are in that zone of I'm supposed to be like this, and you completely push aside, completely ignore what you really want, then how does it make you feel? Just think about it. Because subconsciously, unknowingly, you go on doing it, you just do it. You don't even know how it makes you feel. You don't know what's making you feel what you feel. So just think about it. How do you feel every time you're doing it? Including this scenario when, let's say, your boss has said something to you that you don't approve of, he's treated you in a manner that you don't really like, but you don't say anything, you keep quiet. How does it make you feel about yourself? Maybe you're doubting yourself. शायद मेरे साथ ही कुछ problem है. That's why the boss is saying what he's saying. I only need to manage it better. What more can I do? How does it make you feel? How harsh do you get with yourself? Like, I literally want you to question yourself and really consider how harsh you get with yourself. Okay. Now, next, I want you to look at the impact all these beliefs and the resulting actions have on you. Quite often, you end up feeling worthless, disempowered, frustrated, depressed, sad, angry, not up to the mark. Happens. And then you seek validation outside. You seek acknowledgement, appreciation from others. When you get that, you feel good about yourself. But when you don't get it, it's a dampener. It's a dampener. Right? So the first thing is you reflect upon how does it make you feel every time you're doubting yourself, questioning yourself, you're not loving yourself. What is the feeling that you get? And number two, what is the impact of all these beliefs? This is who I am. This is who I am not. I'm not doing this. I'm not good enough. All these beliefs, how do they make you feel? Worthless, depressed, frustrated, horrible, hopeless, angry, not up to the mark. You need to figure out what is the impact. And like I said, when you're seeking that validation outside, that appreciation outside, that acknowledgement outside, and when you don't get it, you feel worse about yourself. Happens or doesn't? Yeah. Now, for a minute, let's look at how you treat others. You want to have meaningful relationships. Okay, a lot of you say, okay, at workplace, how can I have the best of relationships, the best bonds ever? So you want to have meaningful relationships, and therefore you are always worried about how others feel in your presence. Do they like you? What can you do to make them happy, please them? You go out of the way so many times. You try to bring in more compassion, love for those around you. You want to satisfy them. You devote time to those who need you and also are available for them. You're always available for them, right? You want to fulfill their needs. You even feel guilty for not being able to fulfill their expectations. The list goes on. So much for those outside and around, isn't it? While striving to achieve all of the above, how do you feel? Now, this is something I want you to consider so often. How do you feel when you're doing all of this? Do you experience pleasure, or it turns out to be a burden? Do you enjoy the process, or do you fear having to do it over and over again? Does it bring meaning to your relations, or a disempowering feeling that grows stronger with time? Now, you may question, when I am giving it to others, when I'm doing it for others, when I'm available for others, how can I feel burdened? But that's exactly what I want you to pause and reflect. Unconditionally, when you are there for those around you and you want to just please them, you want to be there for them, you are always wondering, what do I do so that they are happy in my presence? Because you want to get that acknowledgement, that love from outside, right? While striving to achieve all of this, if you start to feel burdened, if there is a struggle, you do it initially, you feel okay, you feel excited, but over time it becomes more of a burden. Burden in the sense, it becomes Oh my God, I have to do this. It's not really pleasure for me. It's not something which is exciting. It's not something that I'm doing because I want to do. It's more of a, I should be doing this, otherwise, this is what will happen. So when it is a struggle, then you need to understand why. You need to understand why you go on giving, you go on doing it without even understanding, without even questioning why is it happening. After all, they say love, give, spread to others, and you shall feel it back. You shall experience more of it. What goes around comes around. Yeah? Well, you can give to others. Now, this is why you are feeling the burden. This is why you feel it's a pain. Well, you can give to others only that which you have. In this case, you are trying to give to others what you don't have or you have very, very little of. You've not fulfilled your own needs. You probably have no idea about what do you really want. You haven't checked with yourself. You haven't given time to yourself. You haven't been available to you. You rarely bring in self compassion. You are busy being busy. Even if you have no energy, you turn harsh on yourself. You beat yourself for not fulfilling expectations of yourself. And you almost kill yourself for results you label as failures. You are not at all concerned whether you like you. So it's absolutely a harsh treatment for yourself. And you are constantly putting yourself through that grind. That compassion, that empathy that you are bringing in with so much of passion for people outside, people around, is absolutely missing when it comes to you. And that is why it becomes a burden over a period of time. What you're giving to others, you think you're supposed to give, becomes a burden for you. And that's exactly what happens even at your workplace, with your boss, with your colleague. You think, let me just say a yes. You think, okay, let me just go ahead and do this. But you've not fulfilled your own needs. You've not looked at what do you really want. Even if you've looked at it, you don't stand up for it. You've not fulfilled it for yourself. When you don't have something that you want to give outside, you cannot give. You can only give that which you have. If you have that love, empathy, that connect with yourself, only then you can establish it or you can give it to those outside. So it's no rocket science. However, this is just a reminder for you. This is just a reinforcement for you. This self-love, this consciousness, mindfulness towards your own needs, what do you really want, and attending to them is something that you will have to do if you want to give it out, if you really want to enjoy giving it out to others. If you're not attending to your own needs, if you're not compassionate, not empathetic towards yourself, if you're not really asking and then addressing your own needs, there's no way giving will be a delight for you. It cannot be, because you are extracting from your little that you have. So you start to feel that love for yourself, little bit is there in the cup, and you extract and give it out. And then you're back, zoop, on the ground. Yeah. I won't hesitate in saying you may have abandoned yourself, dumped the relationship that's most critical to your happy existence, your relationship with yourself. You may be doing all of this to varying degrees. And that's what I was doing too. So I'm not saying each of us is at the same level. Like I said, it's all in different degrees, different proportions that we're all doing it. In organizational context, what you do it, how does this show? When I'm saying you're just giving, trying to give, do for others, and you completely ignore what you want, how does it look like in the organizational context? You take it upon yourself to be the best boss, the best peer, the best team member, the best performer. At least those are the expectations you set from yourself. I've got to be the best, right? You have your own definitions of all of these best versions. Yes, that's even more interesting. While you want to be best, that best is also different for different people. And at times you set up very, very stringent parameters for yourself. You start to chase these to get validation and acknowledgement from the outside. You compare yourself to others. Eventually, you start to compete with others, sometimes even with your subordinates. You please others, but inside you feel disconnected. You go and you smile and you're like a yes sir, yes dear, I'm there for you, oh why not, whereas internally that turmoil is going on because you're not available for your own self. And when you're not available for your own self, trying to give to others becomes a pain, becomes a pressure, becomes a burden. Yeah. So trying to be that best in every area, best boss, best peer, best team member, and then not being able to do it it takes a toll on you. So you end up being very, 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 very harsh on yourself. You say something and you feel something else and you do something absolutely different. No harmony between what you think, what you say, and what you're really doing. That's the biggest casualty. You lose yourself and it becomes an endless race and chase. You keep accomplishing, you keep winning, still you feel lost. Happens? Are you able to relate with what I'm saying? You are winning, you are accomplishing, but you feel lost because you've lost your authenticity, you are not connected to yourself. You're living the life of someone else and not you. And this is not you for sure. And hence the pain and disconnect. So even in this scenario, when your boss is saying something to you which you don't approve of, the real you, the you that's you, the real you, authentic you, is not liking it. But you choose to keep quiet for your own reasons because you have a certain belief system that's governing you. Or you attack, you say something again, another belief system that's governing you. That's what's giving you your actions or behaviors. But that's not you. Either ways, you're putting up a facade of being somebody who you're not. And that is painful. When you are not being yourself, when you're putting up a facade, when you're saying and doing something else different from what you're really feeling from within, at that point you're not liking what your boss is doing, you're not liking how the other person is treating you, but you choose to stay quiet, you choose to smile at it, you choose to give permission to the other person to treat you the way he or she is treating you. And that's where you are killing yourself. You are getting more and more disconnected with your own self. When you say, I'm developing that frustration, that anxiety, that stress, more and more, that hollowness, that void, it's because you're getting disconnected from yourself. When do you disconnect in any relationship? When you have a relationship with somebody outside, let's say your spouse, your parent, your child, when do you feel disconnected from them? When somewhere the sync goes missing, that gap comes in, right? You feel he's not understanding me or she's not understanding me, right? Out here, you are not understanding yourself. You are always deprioritizing yourself at the cost of those outside. You're not attending to your needs. You're just overlooking your own needs. How do you expect to have a strong relationship with yourself? You are bound to have a huge disconnect. So why wonder? But yes, wonder because it's not even there in our conscious existence. We just go on living and living from that survival. Yep. So I just want to leave you with this thought, requesting you, urging you to consider, to really look at it, that every time in a workplace scenario, when you are putting your expectations and the expectations of those around you right there and choosing to ignore your own needs for whatever reasons. I'm not getting into why you're doing it. You have your own beliefs. Why is very clear. It's your beliefs that are governing you, and you're doing it. This is how I'm supposed to be, my boss. I can't say this to my boss. He will do this, he will do that. All your beliefs are there, right? But when you're behaving in a certain manner, when you're killing yourself, beating yourself, when you're being harsh on yourself, you're losing a part of you. You're getting disconnected with yourself. You're losing your love for yourself. You know, as children, we are so passionate about this one relationship. No, 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 no. My need needs to be taken care first. I want it. And we so often teach kids, no, to put their needs right at the back. No, 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 no. Please, you have one sweet, give it to the other person first. That's the conditioning. No, no, no. You can't. If he's saying something, doesn't mean you also say no. Come on, say sorry to him. The child doesn't want to do it. The child will walk away because for him, his feelings, his needs are top priority. What happens then? As we grow, we start to put all of that on the back burner. And that's where the trouble starts. So even at your workplace, if you want to be able to deal with it powerfully, if you want that, your boss, when he treats you, says something that you don't approve of, and you are able to powerfully handle it. I'm not saying that go and have a battle there, but all I'm saying is if you want to be able to deal with it powerfully, the very first step is to fall in love with yourself, to be very, very passionately considerate about what your needs are. Identify and address those needs. When you come from that context, when you no more push aside your needs and you start to love yourself first, right, then that's where the turnaround will start to happen. So you need to first look at your relationship with your own self before you go out there to turn around any other relationship. Great. So I hope you found this meaningful. If you did, please share with me. Let me know what were your thoughts on this. And do register, do subscribe to the channel, the YouTube channel. There is fresh content that I publish there every day. Also, those of you who've not bought the book yet, you can grab your copy. It's there on my website, it's there on Amazon, whatever works for you. Go ahead, get it. And also, um, I want to end by saying that it's only action that makes a difference, nothing else. If you are considering, and if you really want to turn around that relationship which is strained, that relationship with your boss, and you really want that you can uh, manage how you feel every time he treats you a certain way or he says something, then that's the journey that needs action, right? So go ahead and start by taking the very first step, which is reflecting and seeing whether you're being harsh on yourself, whether you have pushed aside that love that you must have for yourself, right? And what is the impact it has on you. Go ahead, do that, and I'm going to see you next Sunday, 7:30 p.m. Indian Standard Time on LinkedIn, YouTube, and Facebook. And do join in. Till then, have an action-packed week ahead. Take care. Bye-bye.